好，今天的课，那就开始吧。对，还是非常感谢大家能够再次来听我的课。然后今天是第三次希腊语课。课程开始之前呢，对我还是大概介绍一下今天的那个课程的内容。今天主要是有这几个部分。就接着上一次稍微讲一讲希腊语的那个语法，就是讲一讲阿提卡的那个希腊语的语法。然后但我不会讲很久，因为周老师之前已经和大家讲过很多了，然后他上一次还把动词的部分也和大家介绍了，所以我就大概给大家讲一下可能语言学方面需要注意的内容。然后呢我们就继续读荷马史诗。然后在读荷马史诗的过程当中，然后和大家分析一下它的一些特殊的形式。我把大家的那个聊天框调出来，你们如果有问题的话，可以在聊天框当中打给我，然后好。那首先开始之前呢，那就先讲一下那个语法的部分。然后这个部分的话，就如果已经学过，然后对希腊语法比较了解的朋友的话，可以跳过去。啊，嗯，OK。Yeah, because we have a friend from Vietnam or Myanmar today, and she's pretty interested in our class, and she asked if I could use English to explain something. Uh, actually, we have a very big audience, and they kind of uh, more familiar with Chinese. So I will probably use some English in explaining the grammatical points, but yeah, please. Sorry, I might not use English all the time. Yeah, okay. 好。Okay, you're welcome. Yeah. Well, I can. Okay, I can. Okay, I will try to satisfy all of you. Yeah. So, uh, well, I just explained at the very beginning that our class is the third Greek class, which mainly deals with the Homeric Greek and the Greek historical linguistics. And according to the previous plan, my class starts with a very short introduction to the Attic Greek about the basic grammar. And then comes the reading part about actually the Homeric Greek, not the Euro-Attic Greek. And in this part, in the reading part, I will explain a lot of special forms. Well, which means that I selected passages on such principles that these forms are unusual but quite important. And through these forms, we would know kind of the history of the Greek language better. Yeah. So this is actually my principle. So now begins the first part. I'm going to explain some basics of the Attic Greek grammar. Okay. Yeah. Oh, really? Well, if you don't mind, I can change to English. Yeah. Yeah. Is there any specific objections to my speaking English from all of you? Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. But I will still use some Chinese. Don't worry. Yeah. Yeah. So the first part about the Attic grammar, and uh, and Joe, how to say Mr. Joe or uh, I don't know how to say 周老师 yeah. OK，对，周老师上次和大家已经说过，一些那个基础的语法，所以我今天就是今天，就其实第一次课，就上一次课，我和大家讲的是名词的部分嘛，所以今天的话，我还是给大家讲一讲，动词的部分。那动词的话，周老师上一次给大家，也说过，就是说如果你去查，yeah, as for the Greek verbs，Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, probably you can do kind of some summary. You can do some summary for our as audiences. Yeah. Okay, please. Yeah. 就是大家在查字典的时候，就是如果去学希腊语的朋友去查字典的话，一般语法书当中会告诉你这个动词的 principal parts。那查语法书的话，那我还是就是目前大家如果初学的话，还是可以去看那个 Smith 的那个语法。我把它找出来给大家看一看。Yeah, actually, for the beginners, I would recommend the Greek grammar by Smith, which is quite useful. And if you turn to the last to the end, there's a appendix with a list of verbs. And this is quite useful because you will find in this list of verbs the principal parts. So actually, based on the principal parts, you can actually, in theory, build all the various forms you need. 就如果你那个参考这个 principal parts 的话，就可以通过这些 principal parts 构造出各种各样的形式。那就是对这本语法书真的非常好，就是我很推荐大家都那个就是学习希腊语的话，就前面的部分其实非常的复杂，非常的繁复。哦，不好意思，那刚才有风，那个门关起来了。就是但是它后面这个appendix 真的非常方便，就是可以给大家动词方面真的非常方便。OK，那我就举一个例子吧，就是比如说我们去看这个词，就不好意思，我举的例子跟周老师不一样，周老师是举了一个非常普通、非常规则的形式，那个p a i d e v o 对，但我的话，出于语言学家的考虑，就是我举的例子就不是非常规则，但是呢，这个词是一个非常重要，就是在印欧语当中有非常多的同源词的一个动词。那这个词呢叫那个 Homeric。好，那这个字典还有一个好处，OK, good evening. Yeah, I just have started, and our friend Fang or Mr. Zhang will translate a little bit of my teaching into English, so that you can also follow us. But I will still use some Chinese and English to facilitate the teaching. Okay. So as I explained, I selected a verb from the list of verbs in the grammar by Smith. So this is our example. I will probably, well, I can use a Greek alphabet, of course. Okay. Yeah. So I just neglected the accents and the aspiration, and you will know because I put the original book beside on the other side. Yeah. So this is the verb called go, and then in this bracket you find all the kind of this is kind of roots， 就这个类似词根，但是其实怎么讲呢？就是它也不是真的是，就是它是类似词根的。然后你根据这些形式的，根据这些词根的话，就可以知道它的构造方式。就这些括号里面的，就这个语法书很好，就是它在括号里面还告诉你一些关于它词根的信息。但虽然这个词根并不是严格意义上印欧语词根，但是对于学习初学希腊语的朋友，这个已经很有用了。对，好，所以这个是现在时。然后现在时的话，大家看好了，就我们怎么去分析一个动词形式呢？So how to analyze a verb form? So actually, you have first, you have the kind of stem, or this is actually root, and then, so this is erho. This is actually a root. Ah, okay, yeah. Yeah, so this is erho is actually root, and o, we have a specific name. This is called semantic vowel. And then this my. So this is present. This is present. And my, this is ending. So basically, if you have a verb form, and then you can always analyze the verb form into three parts: root, semantic vowel, or ending. But this is for semantic formation， 就是这个是主题动词，对，所以你有一个主题元音。But not always. There are basically two different. Well, I'm talking about PIE. I'm talking about Proto-Indo-European. Yeah. Proto-Indo-European. So basically, you can divide all the formations into two sections, semantic and asematic. So the difference is that between the root and the ending, if there is a vowel, like o or e, yeah, this is called semantic verbs. But between the root and ending, there's no such semantic, no such vowel. This is called asematic. So asematic, I think if you learn some Sanskrit, you will know that asti is a very typical asematic formation. But now we have elhomai. Elhomai is a semantic verb. So elho is root. I mean, in the Greek grammar, it can be called root, but actually in the historical viewpoint, it is not the root. The root has a more basic form, yeah. But as far as we are dealing with Greek, you can be satisfied with such explanation. Elho is the root and O is the semantic vowel. So I will highlight this. Yeah. So Elhomai, you can divide the form into three parts: root, semantic vowel, and ending. So this is present. And then let's turn to the aorist form. So if you get the principle, namely root, semantic vowel, and ending, and then you can, how to say that, conjugate. You can get other forms, like if you want to. So this is actually first person singular, and let's say if you want to have second person singular, and then you just substitute this O with another semantic vowel. So semantic vowel has a distribution. So distribution of semantic vowels. So let's say this is singular and this is plural, and this is first person I. Okay, I just I is not so precise. So this is the second, and then the third. So this is there's a distribution of thematic vowel. So you have already seen that this is first person singular. So for first person singular, the thematic vowel is O. But for the second person singular, the thematic vowel is A. And for the third person singular, it's also A. And then for the plural, this is also O. And for the second person plural, it is also A. And then for the third person singular, it is also O. So you can see that O occurs in first person singular, first person plural, and third person plural. So this is very important. And oh yeah, there's a birds. There are birds singing outside. Yeah, yeah. We have a very good climate. We have very good weather here. Yeah, but unfortunately, I could not go outside. Yeah. Well, let's go back to the thematic vowels. Yeah. So the distribution of thematic vowels is very important. So why? Well, it is actually not that dangerous to go outside, but yeah, probably later I will go out. Yeah. Okay. That's not important, right? Okay. So as I said, this distribution of thematic vowel is very important, and we will use this information in our later courses when we come to the Sanskrit verbs. Because if you go to the Sanskrit grammar, let's take the Sanskrit grammar by Meyerhofer. This is actually an English translation of this this grammar. I actually prefer this grammar to Stenzler because you can find a lot of linguistic explanations in this book. So let's jump to the verb section. So if we, I'm not sure if you have such doubts or such concerns, because at the beginning of my studying, as I first began to study Sanskrit, I really got confused about this long A before the me and the short A before C and T. But again, you see that this is also a long A. So this kind of distribution of the length of A before the personal ending has everything to do with this distribution of thematic vowels. But we will, because this is not a Sanskrit class, I'm not going to, I'm not going into detail. But I just to say that this distribution of thematic vowels is very important. We have to keep it in mind. So this is actually I use this to explain that if you want to build other forms from the elhomai, from the verb elhomai, and you just need to, so root keeps the same, root remains the same. And then you just need to substitute the thematic vowel, change it to according to this distribution, and then change the ending. And the ending, you can find it in the grammar book. I think this is so this is how do you say that? This is a middle form. Wait a minute, this is aorist. Wait a minute. Yeah, let's take a look of this. Yeah. So this is actually a very beautiful paradigm of the verb histemi and titemi and yeah, hiemi. Yeah, the meaning is marked here: make, stand, put, place, send, let go. Yeah, so you can see that this is the personal endings for the first person singular, and then this is for the second person singular, and then the third person, and so on. So as I said, if you want to build a verb form, you just take the root, use the semantic vowel, and then the ending for the semantic verbs. But here you see that there's no changing. So the vowel is always R, always R, always R, always R, which means that this is not a semantic verb. This is an asematic verb. So for the asematic verb, well, I put, so this is semantic. And then if we turn to asematic, as I explained, asti, Sanskrit asti, oh, I forgot accent probably here, yeah. Yeah, but you can just, yeah, just to neglect the accent, yeah. So this is Sanskrit asti, this is typical asematic. And then we come to this verb, for example, this titemi. So tisemai or the titemai. I just use a Latin transcription to facilitate typing and facilitate reading. Okay, so for this verb, and you can also see that the vowel is always a. There is no change of this vowel, so it means that it is asematic. Because if it is semantic, it should change. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So this is asematic. So asematic is quite simple. You just put the stem plus the ending without the semantic vowel because it is asematic. Yeah, I think that you got the logic. Yeah. So this is the present. Yeah. And then let's turn to the aorist. So aorist is a little bit difficult, a little bit complicated. I mean, compared with presence, it's difficult or complicated in various degrees or in different aspects. Because in present, it is also not that easy because there are a lot of different formations of present forms. So you see that this is kind of a reduplicated formation. So you see that there's kind of a reduplication like titemi, titemai, and so on. But this one, as I explained, this looks simple, but it is not. If we go to etymological dictionary, and you will know that this elhomai is cognate. This elho, well, I prefer for this I would prefer. So this is etymologically connected with a Sanskrit word called richati. I will show you the verb here. So probably you can ask your friends if you want to. I mean, this dictionary. This is offline dictionary, and you can download the software free of charge, and you can download the package, the dictionary packages, and then you install it, and it is very convenient to use. So the verb called richati. Yeah, there's a verb called richati, and I think you can, how to say, how to use it? Well, I probably should, okay, I probably should use this one because the offline dictionary does not, it's not so precise. And let's try this one. Morley-Williams Sanskrit Dictionary. So in Sanskrit, you have a verb like, so you see what I mean earlier. The Greek verb elhomai, this is not actually the basic root of this form. It is actually for the Greek language, it is the root. But actually in the viewpoint, in the perspective of Indo-European linguistics, it is not. Because the more basic form is actually r. So it is connected with Sanskrit, richati. So how do you explain this? Yeah. So it is actually, let's analyze this, this form. So this is Sanskrit. So Sanskrit richati can also be analyzed similar to the Greek verbs elhomai. So it consists of three parts, or yeah, well, if we consider this as a single part. So three parts. First part is actually the so-called root, but it is not really the root, but just for the time being, just take it as a root. And then this is a semantic vowel, and then this is ending, just like the Greek verb. The difference is that the Greek verb, the Sanskrit verb, you can further analyze. And also it is reflected in the Sanskrit dictionary. Because if you search richati, you will not get the correct root. You have to search r, because the root is actually reconstructed as a r. And this ch is actually a suffix or infix if you, yeah, it's just, yeah. And then this her, so it means that in Greek, the her, the, yeah, the usually we transcribe the her as, sorry, we transcribe the her as an khe, yeah. So it is actually aspirated, tenuous, or aspirated velar, yeah. Tenuous. It is tenuous means that 就是轻音. It is not how to put it in English. Well, I only know. Yeah, you can probably check it later. Yeah, it is tenuous. It is tenuous is against. So this is all linguistic terminologies. Tenuous means 轻音. Now media means 浊音，就是声带不振动，声动啊 unvoiced. Okay, yeah, unvoiced. Thank you. Yeah, voiced and unvoiced. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. And then this ch, you find it also in other verbs like gachati. It is quite common verb. Yeah, gachati. And this ch is just like the yeah, that's true. Yeah, this ch in Sanskrit comes from an older Indo-European form, which is actually sk or sk. Yeah. So with a hook or with a, how to say that? It's not actually a hook, but with a stroke. Okay, with a stroke above, it means that it is a palata. It is palata velar. Yeah, it is a palata. Yeah. And this palata velar turns the consonant group into a ch group. Yeah. I'm not good at in pronouncing Sanskrit, so I beg your pardon if you I beg your pardon if you feel uncomfortable with my pronunciation. Yeah, because my pronunciation is really how to say that. I learned the pronunciation from my German teacher who usually teach linguistics, and not like the pronunciation in South Asia or in India. Yeah, so actually the Greek verb elhomai is very really very connected with the Sanskrit verb richati. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's turn back to the aorist. Yeah. I kind of always talk a lot. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to the Smythe's grammar. So in Smyth, you see that he will list the aorist forms, and for this form, it is called Homai. Okay, I always have problem with typing the Greek alphabet. Okay. Yeah, it is called Elson. And Elson, if I transcribe it, it is like this. Yeah. And then, so this aorist form, and you certainly see the difference, because the present form is like this. Yeah, the present form is like this, erg. But the aorist form, this is, so this is present, and this is aorist. And you clearly see that this is actually the ending. Yeah. So you can see that we have actually quite different forms, quite different consonants. So they actually come from different roots. And this phenomena is called suppletion. Well, actually, you can refer to my previous videos about this phenomena, and I won't go into detail now. Or you can later check it in Wikipedia or on the internet. Yeah. So actually, there are actually two different roots, because present and aorist are semantically quite different. It is not just, they are not just different with respect to the time. I mean, the past or the present. It is not. They are not. They are quite different. Yeah. I mean, and if you search for suppletion, and you probably encounter this terminology called Aktionsart. It's from a German word. And you can also check the information about this Aktionsart. And for this, I would highly recommend the grammar by Toshifumi Goto. The name is this one. I strongly recommend you to use this grammar called Old Indo-Aryan Morphology, and its Indo-Iranian background. I copied it in the chat. Okay. About the Aktionsart. Yeah. Okay, so then the aorist form, you can also analyze it like first the aorist also has a kind of stem or root, and then at the beginning you see that this is a lengthened E grade. Lengthened E grade comes from 2E, yeah, and this first E, lengthened E grade comes from 2E's, 2 air, yeah, and the first air is called augment to how to say that. So this augment means that it is a present, it is a past tense, yeah. And then this is actually the root, yeah. And you will find it also in perfect, the perfect called elelusa. So perfect, and then this the last part is actually the personal ending, yeah. I will probably, and then the aorist is really simpler as present, but not always. For example, but especially if you check the second aorist, the aorist with the number two, it is always a very simple, and it can be called root aorist. So root aorist. Just like the present, I mean, in present we have like the sk. This is called sk present. So actually, in present and both in present and in aorist, we have different formation. We have different suffixes to build their stems. So the principle is we first have a root, and then you use suffixes to build a stem. So this can be called a stem. So in present, we have different suffixes, like the sk or like the nu, nu. Yeah, there are several, many suffixes. And root plus suffix, you get stem, yeah, like this. Yeah. And then if you have stem, just to put personal ending after the stem, you will get a finite verb form. Yeah. Okay. But sk, not probably based on this form, elhomai. Root called 词根. Yeah, root is 词根. 对，就是如果你们有那个问题的话，就随时发消息，就是打中文、打英文都可以，然后我可以解释。对，严格来讲应该叫affix 或者等等之类的，就是这个其实严格翻译的话应该叫后缀。Yeah, okay. So let's turn back to the elhomai. So based on this form, you would probably have a impression that sk turns to h. Like you probably have such impression. Sk turns into h in Greek, but it is not true. This is not true. I put two stars before this sentence to mark that it is not true. Yeah, it is just in this case. It appears as kh, as kh, but in other cases it is just like the sk. Let's take this example. Does anyone know the correspondence of gacha in Greek? You can type it in the chat. Does anyone know the Greek correspondence of gacha or gach? No. You can either use Greek alphabet or the Latin letters. Don't be shy. Okay. Okay. Okay, I will explain it. Yeah. So gach. If you go to the Greek dictionary, let's use the Greek dictionary. There's a form actually called Basque. There's a form called Baskin. Yeah. Baskin. Yeah. Und Baske, Greek. Yeah. Or Basque. Yeah. It means go, just like the Sanskrit form. And you see that. So this is a correspondence. In Greek called Basque, the sk corresponds to ch. So this is quite, how to say that, obvious that this is a sk, because in Vedic or in Sanskrit, it is already turned into two palatas. Yeah. Okay. So this is important. Root plus suffix, you get a stem. Okay. And then, so then what is a root aorist? Root aorist is you put root plus and personal ending without any suffix. So root aorist or root present, there's also root present. Root aorist, root present means that if we want to build a finite form, finite form 的意思就是就不是不定式，因为大家知道那个 infinite 就是叫不定式嘛，就 finite form 的意思就是它有人称那个数的变化在里面，不定式就是没有人称和数的变化，所以我们叫那个 infinite。对 ，OK， so if we want to build a finite form for root aorist and root present, you just use root plus ending, simple, yeah. But for other classes of aorist and present, you have to use suffix between the root and ending. So just like this gachati, you see that the root is actually here, ga, but it undergoes, it has already undergone certain sound changes, but I won't explain it here, yeah. But for this one, this is not a root present, because between the root ga and the ending t, you have such things, so it is not a root present. But for such thing like ephagon or elson, it is actually root aorist. There's no suffix. Yeah. But we not only have root aorist, but we also have other aorists. It is a very productive class of aorist in Greek. It is called the sigma aorist or sigmatic aorist. So why do we call it sigmatic aorist? Because we have after the stem sigma, like you see that it is sigma. Is it big enough? I think because if you use a laptop, you will certainly find it big enough to see. Yeah, but if you use a tablet, it is probably not so easy to recognize. Yeah. So actually, in Greek, we also have another very productive class of aorist. It is called the sigmatic aorist. Yeah. You see that it is marked by the S, by the sigma here, yeah, sigma here. Yeah. But why it is called a pseudo-sigmatic, but it has something to do with Greek linguistics. I won't go into detail here, but you can satisfy yourself with these forms for the present being. Yeah. So this is another root aorist. It is called sigmatic aorist. So it is with S suffix. And this S sigmatic, this sigmatic aorist is very productive in all the ancient languages, I mean Indo-European languages. If you go to the grammar, the dictionary called Leaf, this is where I for the many, well, again, I just show you the title. It's called Lexikon der Indo-Germanischen Verben. It is most important lexicon for Indo-European verbs. So let's go to the section. So take a look. So these are all Proto-Indo-European formations. You see that there's a star before the forms. So this star means that it is reconstructed. And then you can see that the first one is called Wurzel-Aorist. So Wurzel-Aorist is in English is root-aorist. English, German Wurzel, English root. Yeah. I just say that the meaning are same, not etymologically connected. Yeah, or must not be etymologically connected. Okay. So you see that this is the root aorist. So you have the root. R means root. Yeah. It can both be so rar can be the Latin word for root or just the English word. But I suppose that this it is probably the Latin radical or yeah. Okay, and then the second class, it is called aorist with suffix s. So actually s is a very important suffix building aorists. And then you see that how do you build s aorist? So you take the root and then you plus a suffix s. So this is the stem. So this is called stem. Root plus, go back here, root plus suffix. This is stem. So this is the stem. And then if you want to build a finite form, just to put personal endings after the stems. Yeah, simple, yeah. But pay attention. The root has different grades. So I'm talking about grades. Or in German is Stufe. So grades, we have 4 grade. We have German 4 Stufe. And 0 grade. 0 grade. And in German it's called Schwungstufe. And we have also lengthened grade. Sibilant, yeah, it's a sibilant, yeah, S, yeah. Lengthened grade. In German it's called Dehnstufe, yeah. You can see that in root aorist, the stem has 2 different grades. This one is called full grade or E full grade, E or the A full grade. Yeah, if you pronounce, I mean, E is English name, but A is German name. So A or E, whatever you want, it's okay. Yeah. So well, I prefer the German. Yeah. So this is A grade, and this is a 0 grade. And but for the S aorist, you have lengthened grade and A grade. So this is a lengthened grade. This is a full grade. So I put it here. Yeah. So full grade means that this is A. 0 grade means that it is 0. Yeah, it's actually 0. So nothing. And lengthened grade, it is actually A. So yeah, and all these can have other variants, but 0 is 0. Yeah, so this is in other cases, we also have, I think it is pretty simple, yeah. It is called full grade, E full grade. It is called E lengthened grade. And this is called O full grade. It is called O lengthened grade, yeah. Okay. So for the aorist, S aorist, you will have 2 different grades. And how do we use these different grades? There's a principle. For the singular active, you use For this one, you use okay, I put it here. For root aorist, sigmatic aorist, or for the root aorist, for the singular active, you use E grade. And for others, namely the plural active, middle, and so on, you use zero grade. Okay. Okay. And then for the sigmatic aorist, singular active, you use lengthened grade. And others, like you just copy this here. Others, yeah, I mean others means plural, active, middle, and so on. You use E grade. So you can see that all the singular active is always a grade higher, a grade higher. You see that, yeah. And this is the reason why we have in Sanskrit, I come back to the Sanskrit grammar. Well, today is a Greek course, but I'm talked so much about Sanskrit. I hope you won't mind. Or won't mind too much. I know someone would mind, but no. Okay, yeah. So this is this is not a good. This is not a good. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. I can show you here. So you can see here, ni, the verb ni, to lead. It has a nai. It is actually the lengthened grade in the active, but in the middle, it has actually the guna form, the a. Yeah, so a is actually full grade. This is actually lengthened grade, but to be specific, it should be how to say that. The lengthened grade should only be in the active singular. Yeah. Okay. Because Sanskrit has actually adopted the lengthened grade in all the plural and active plural and singular forms. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Take a look. Yeah. So this is actually how to say that. It is actually what I described. What I have described. This section or this section is actually Proto-Indo-European forms, and you can also find it in the lexicon. So Wurzel denkstufige und betont in Singular von Indikativ, Injunktiv, Aktiv. So singular, indicative, and injunctive. And injunctive is another very important category, but we will talk about it later. Yeah. Active and other forms, all other forms, vorstufige and betont. But why in Sanskrit we have active, singular, and plural, both lengthened grade, naish? Because Sanskrit has, as I said, has generalized the lengthened grade to singular and plural. So this is the secondary development. Yeah. Okay. So this is kind of some short introduction to the verbs. But I know that it's a little bit fragmentary, but I can summarize a little bit. So first, if you want to learn Greek grammar, Attic Greek grammar, you should have this grammar book, Smythe's Greek Grammar, by your side, and you can check frequently the appendix, the list of verbs at the very end, and then you find the roots and also the various forms. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's a lot of there's a tendency that languages tend to that the people are lazy. The people, well, this is just my own comment. Yeah, it's kind of a tendency. The people are getting lazier, and they have, how to say that, they prefer to speak more simply. Yeah, that's it's kind of a tendency. Yeah. Okay, so then you have in this list of verbs the principal parts, or the which is highlighted in how to say that? Oh, in bold font. Yeah. Okay. And then this quite theoretical information about the formation of verb forms. Okay. Yeah. So I think that's enough for. I know this is probably a little bit confusing for those um, who speak Chinese. Yeah. 就我以后说不定还会继续解释，所以大家不用担心。就是我反正这个课会一直开，然后会一直讲，对，大家不用担心。如果你现在觉得很混乱，也不用太担心。对，我以后还是会慢慢讲。对，OK，so let's take a break and then we will start reading. Yeah. Reading. Well, we continue reading the passage in Iliad or in Iliad. And this passage, inside this passage, we have an interesting word called slinu or trinu. And this, and it means that this slinu means actually the footstool. And this footstool, the word for footstool, 脚凳，就是你把脚放在上面的一种凳子，对，矮凳，对。Yeah, this word you find it also in a Mycenaean document, yeah, with different spellings, yeah. So we will continue reading the Iliad passage, not the Mycenaean tablet again. Okay, so you can actually take a look. Oh, I can make it bigger. Yeah, make it bigger. Yeah, so you can read the passage. So this is a Greek text. This is a English translation, and this is a German translation. Okay. See you later. Yeah, I go get some water. If you have any questions, just write it down. Okay, I'm back. Well, sigmatic. Well, sigmatic comes from the Greek name for the alphabet, sigma. And well, it is used in this context just as a technical term. The S containing S. It means sigmatic means containing S. In this context, yeah, containing S. Yeah, yeah. It is not root present. Yeah, because root present has this is root present. Yeah, this is root present. This is root present. But take a look of Gachati. How could a root be so long? No, it's not a root present. It comes from, it has three parts. Gum, ga. Well, I will I will use probably for some of you not so familiar. This is this dictionary of Indo-European verbs. So there's a root called gram. This is a root. 对, yeah, characterized by Greek alphabet sigma. Yeah, sigma means a Roman S added to. Yeah. So you see that the original word is actually, the original root is called gram. So I know that this may look a little bit exotic to you. I will put it here. So you see that the U plus a round, a half round below it, this symbol, it has the sound of W. So it is a semivowel. It is a semivowel. It has the pronunciation of W, like water, or in German is Wasser. It's like a word. And then it is a G. So the consonant is actually like this, G. It has a specific name called labia velar. So labia refers to W. W is labia sound, and velar refers to G. So this is very so this is kind of a consonant existed, which we probably well, yeah. This is this is a kind of consonant reconstructed for the Proto-Indo-European, and we have strong evidence. We have very how to say that we have very strong evidence to support the existence of such a consonant called labia velar in the Proto-Indo-European time. And then you see that for present, there are two different ways of building present for this root. One is with a suffix called ske, and this ske turns into cha in Sanskrit and turns into se in Young Avestan or Old Iranian. So Old Iranian and Old Indic or Vedic, they are quite connected. They are, of course, very, how to say that? They may look different, but they are really quite connected. So both in Vedic and in Avestan, you see that there's a suffix, there's a something between the root and the ending. The ending is a T, the ending is a T, but there's a S, there's a ch, so this is actually a suffix. So if you use a suffix, it is not a root present, because root present is like this. What is root present? Root present is root us plus ending. So this is root present. But for gachati, you have a cha. Cha is a suffix. So this is not a root present. Okay. And then you have, like in Sanskrit, in Greek, you have this basket. But you also have another formation, the year formation, like in Greek, baino, and in Latin it's called venio, yeah, and so on, yeah. Yes, it is a sound change. Let's say, yeah, this is sound change. So this is PIE with the star turns into Vedic Ga. So this is a sound change. This is a sound change. And then let's put it another way. E it turns into Greek data. Yeah. Yeah. So there are different sound changes. Yeah. Yeah, we also have a Armenian form. Yeah. So this is so you see that different languages have different sound changes, just like dialects. I mean, they are not dialects, but you can imagine that you pronounce different ways. You pronounce the sounds in different ways. Yeah, it's not neglected. Well, you see that. You see this. You see this. It is another sound change. So studying, studying linguistics, you have to know a lot of sound changes. They are regular principles. Yeah. So another sound change is that turns into R in Vedic and in Greek. In Vedic and in Greek. So they are regular sound changes. And there's also other sound changes like also to R in. Yeah, they are just sound changes. You have to memorize them. Yeah, if you want to study Indo-European linguistics. Yeah. Okay. So then what is so where does this yeah, okay. Okay. So let's start reading some Greek texts. Yeah. So I think I already read last time, so I won't try to read the verses again. And if you want to know the pronunciation, you can check another. You can find it in YouTube, and I also send a file to our group. Someone, a professor, I forgot the name. He read the. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. So let's start reading a little bit. For those who are not familiar with Greek alphabets, I will transcribe a little bit. Yeah. We just start from the very beginning. Dora de toi doso karon sronon tronon aftiton ie. So the first sentence means that you can read of course, you can read the English translation, of course, yeah. So Dora means, great. That's also that's also a Chinese translation, okay, yeah. So Dora means gifts. Yeah, it is connected with the word. So Dora, so I'm typing Greek. So Dora, only past participle. Well, Okay, let's do it again. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So the root is like this. This is the root. And then how to build PPP, how to build past participle. In order to build a participle, or in order to build a past participle, you need to get the zero grade. So this is a principle. I'm talking about the principle of building words in Proto-Indo-European or in Indo-European languages. So in order to get a PPP, you have to use the zero grade. So this is the zero grade, and then get a tall. This is a Proto-Indo-European. So how to get the zero grade of this root? You just delete the E, delete the A. So for this root, if you want to get the PPP, you first get the zero grade, and then you put a tall. And check, there are three consonants one after the other. There are three consonants together. So according to the syllabification, is it right? I'm not sure. Yeah. In order to the 就是音节划分的原则 syllabification rule of Indo-European language, Proto-Indo-European, this is not allowed. You have to make this consonant to a vowel. But how to make a consonant into a vowel? This consonant is nasal or resonant or sonorant. There are different names for this. Yeah. In order to make it into a vowel, you put a small circle under it to mark, to signify that it is a vowel between consonants. Yeah. And then, as I said, this is like the pronunciation is like just like the English pronunciation of bottom, yeah, bottom or button, like this. This bottom, you see that if you pronounce it correctly, I mean, this bottom should be similar to this sound, and the button should be similar to this sound. Yeah. And then remember what we have previously. Oh, okay. You see that? Okay, you see that? This is a sound change. It's a sound law. This is a sound law. And then this gumto turns into gata, and or turns into r in Sanskrit. This is Proto-Indo-European or. So I put it again. PIE or turns into weighted r. So this is how you get kata. Yeah. And then for the gachati, as I said, before suffix, you also need to use zero grade. So this is a zero grade and then plus the suffix. So this is principles of building stems in Indo-European languages. Okay, but it takes some time for you to memorize all of them. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So let's turn to the Homeric verses. Yeah. So Dora means gifts, gifts, yeah. And this gifts comes from the root for give. In Sanskrit, it's called da. Yeah. In Sanskrit, it's da. Give. But this is Greek. Yeah, this is Greek. Yeah. And you see that this is R, and this R is a mark for a neutral plural，就中性复数。中性复数名词的那个结尾是那个一个 R，然后呢，它是来自原始英语的 HR。对 ，OK。So this R is a neutral ending. Yeah. Okay. Comes from laryngeal too. Yeah. Just yeah, it's okay. Yeah. And then doso. Doso is will give. And this S with sigma can also be used to build future. 就这个 sigma 也可以用来构成将来时。Okay. Then the word column. Column means fair or of Deutsch. Oh, sorry, I automatically come to German. Okay, so in German, it means schön. Colon. So colon has this is a neutral singular nominative. Yeah. Okay, accusative. But for neutral，就中性的话，它的复数它的主格和单数形式是一样的。For neutral, accusative and nominative are the same. But in this context, it must be the accusative, because it is the object of give, to give. Yeah. Okay, column. And actually, this does anyone know that the Greek word column? This is Greek. Could be connected with which Sanskrit word? Column means beautiful. So what is the word for beautiful? And starting with a k and containing an l in Sanskrit. Why? Kalusa? Is there such a word? I'm not sure. Let's check it. I mean Sanskrit word. Kushala. Well, that's a guess, yeah. But you see that there's no s in Greek. Yeah. Starting with k. Yeah. Okay, it's okay. Let's check the dictionary together. So actually, in Sanskrit, we have another word called Kalyana. Kalyana. Yeah. Okay. Actually, in Sanskrit, we have another word called Kalyana, and this Kalyana, a lot of people assume that it is connected with the Greek word called kalos, but check the wording of Meyerhoff, because Meyerhoff, how do you say that? The editor or the writer of this dictionary. I'm checking this dictionary. This is the most important dictionary in the world for Sanskrit etymology. If you want to know the history of Sanskrit language, you must use this dictionary. No other one. This is the best in the world. And let's turn back to the word Kalyana. Okay, so this is the word Kardiana. No, there's no English translation. You have to study. You have to learn German. Yeah. Okay. No compromise. Sorry. So you pay attention to the wording of Meyerhofer. He says that "wohl nicht von Griechisch kalos zu trennen." So put it into English. It means that probably or very likely not to be separated from Greek. So he is very careful because it is not actually 100% certain, but they are very likely to be connected with each other. So Carlos and Cariana. And if you want to know the semantic development of these two words, you can check a dissertation. And this is a dissertation by someone called Erica Berkler. And the Dr. Mother of this Mrs. Berkler is Frau Mette, Professor Adelheid Mette. Okay, so this is actually a dissertation for the exact or precise meaning of Sanskrit Kalyana, and also I copied it in the chat. So in her dissertation, she deals with the semantic aspects of Kalyana in great detail and compared with Greek kalos. Yeah. If you want to know more about kalos and Kalyana, you should check this book. Yeah. So now let's turn to this verse again. So kalo means 顺, means beautiful, and slono means footstool, 脚凳. So in English, like I will give you gifts, the beautiful throne. Yeah. Okay, and this beautiful throne has an attribute called aftiton. And aye means ever. And this aye, does anyone know that where does this, with which word, with which Sanskrit word is this aye connected? And aye actually means that for the whole life, for the whole time, for the whole life. So what is the life? What is the word for life in Sanskrit? Life. Yeah, correct. Ayu. Yeah. So actually, the Greek word aye is connected with Sanskrit ayus. Yeah. Okay. So now let's turn to the word shun. Shun. Yeah. So I suppose that someone probably remember the episode in the novel or in the narration by A.T.R. Hoffmann last time. So A.T.R. Hoffmann, we talked about A.T.R. Hoffmann. It's a German writer, A.T.R. Hoffmann, and he had a famous narration called Der Sandmann. Yeah, history. Yeah. And in this Sandman, there's a person. I can show you the video again if you are not. I can show you the video again. So this is our video last time.
Das Metall muss bis zu dem Grad erhitzt werden, dass es formbar wird. Hingehen, sich zu waschen.
Pay attention. Someone will appear. Knock the door.
Was ist jetzt noch? Skønne okay?
Have you heard that? Skønne okay? Okay. Skønne okay? Skønne. He has skønne okay. And this skønne okay is actually, I just wrote the pronunciation, but the correct form should be like this. Skønne okay? Probably a long O, yeah. And this skønne okay is middle high German. Middle high German. Or the Mittelhochdeutsch of German. Yeah. Mittelhochdeutsch. Yeah, I mean, in modern German, it's pronounced like schön, but in Middle High German, this is pronounced like sk, just like in school. So in English school, you pronounce sk, like school, yeah, just like in Middle High German. So actually, from Middle High German to modern German or to New High German, the sk turns to schön, yeah. And now let's talk about a little bit about this skønne. This skønne, if we check the dictionary, we know that this n is a suffix. This n is a suffix. So this should be the stem. Okay, if this is the stem, if we check the dictionary, the pronunciation should be sk, yeah. And you see that this is O, and O goes back probably to owl, or yeah, probably to owl. And does anyone probably already know that with which word could this German word schön be connected with which Sanskrit word? If I put it in this way, and I tell you that this can be neglected, can be dropped out. And what is the Sanskrit word starting with kav? Can put it in the chatting. Yeah, richtig. Yeah, it is connected with Sanskrit word kavi. Kavi, the, how to say that? Kavi, the poet. Yeah, that's the poet. But kavi, richtig. No. Yeah, richtig. Okay, so let's come back again to the Sanskrit dictionary to check the meaning of kavi. So this is a Sanskrit dictionary, etymological dictionary. So you see that kavi means zia. So kavi first means zia. In German, sehen is to see. So it means to observer, like this, observer. In English, it means observer. So actually, it means to see at the very first. So who is a poet, or who is a priest, who is a wiser? Wiser, why German wiser is how to say that, wise man, something like that. Wise, of course, wise woman is also correct. Yeah, I have no discrimination for woman. Yeah, but wiser, the grammatical form is masculine. Sorry. Yeah. So wiser, and Dichter is poet. Yeah, also Dichter. Or wise person. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, wise person. Yeah. Yeah, we can talk about person next time in my Latin class, because person is also an interesting word. Yeah. Okay, so actually, someone who is wise, someone who is clever, someone who can see is actually goes back to the idea of someone who can see, who can observe, who can perceive, yeah. And then from to perceive comes the meaning of beautiful. To see, to beautiful, and it's like, well, it might not be a how to say that? It might not be a very very correct comparison, but well, actually, the semantic change of to see and beautiful existed also in, how to say that? Also in Sanskrit. So in Sanskrit, we have another word called darsha. Well, I check the. In Sanskrit, we have this word darsha. Darshaniya. Is there a Sanskrit word called darshaniya? To see. Yeah, I think there's darshaniya. Yeah, how do you see that? This word darshaniya. Darsha comes from the root for see, and darshaniya means to be seen. Words of it means visible, which can be seen, and then worthy of being seen, and then good looking, beautiful. So it's just like the development of the Middle High German of Skirne or German like schön. Yeah. The German word for schön. The German word schön means actually to be seen or visible, and then from to be seen to beautiful. This semantic development also occurs in Sanskrit, like darshaniya and darsh, yeah, like this. So this is a word for karon, means beautiful, means schön, okay. And this aye means ever, Aye means ever, immer. In German, it's called immer, and connected with the Sanskrit word aya or aju. Sorry, ayus, ayu. Yeah. And now the final word. This is the final word. For after this word, I will stop the meeting because it might otherwise too much for some of you. Yeah. Okay. Hlyseon. And hlyseon means of gold, a goldener. So this is actually means gold, yeah. And this word, actually hlysos, yeah, hlysos. You also find it in the dictionary. We check it together. So hlysos.残念的是，好像我不知道这个字典的，我其实不是很，其实这个字典的输入法我一直不是很搞得懂。Like this. This dictionary has a very peculiar transliteration, transcribing method. So you see that it's called hlysos, and hlysos means gold. Sorry, means hlysos means gold. And this word, does anyone know the etymology of hlysos? I wait a minute for you to give me some feedback. The etymology of hlysos. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah, and I can just show it now. Yeah. So let's go to this dictionary. This is a very good dictionary called Griechisches Etymologisches Wörterbuch, and this actually how to say that? This actually English version, which is translated from the German translation, from the German version. You can use it if you want. This one, the dictionary by Leiden, called Leiden Indo-European Etymological Dictionary Series, and there's in 2010 Greek Etymological Dictionary of Greek, published in 2010, 2 volumes, yeah. And actually, if you check Hlysos, yeah, you can see that called Hlysos goat, LW. LW means long word. LW means long word. Sam means. Does anyone know Sam? Sam. What is Sam? Yeah. Yeah, correct. Yeah, Sam means Semitic, Semitic，闪米特语系，闪米特的那个词源。So this is actually a long word from Semitic. So I will now Semitic. Yeah, Semitic. And now, if you want to know words, Greek words having or coming from Semitic languages, there's several books you can check. One of them is by this one, called Hauser. This one. This is very good, called Laffer Hauser, and called Früher Semitische Lehnwörter in Griechischen. It is good because it analyzes borrowing process very precise. He's Polish. I suppose that he's Polish, yeah, because this L with a stroke between. It's a typical Polish word. Yeah. So Chrysos, goat, in the literature since Homer, and in Mycenaean, there's a word called kuruso, instrumental singular, and so on. So it is a okay. I make it a little bit bigger, yeah, so that you can see. Yeah. So this is a Semitic, 是闪米特的那个 yeah. This is a Semitic slang word, Semitic long word. Compare Akkadian, Hurashu, called goat. And you can check the Akkadisches Handwörterbuch. AHW is Akkadisches Handwörterbuch. And then CAD, I guess it is Chicago Akkadian Dictionary, or I forgot, CAD, probably Chicago, right? And Ungaric, and also in Phoenician. Also, we have in Phoenician like sh. And we also have in Hebrew harush, and so on. Very important is the following part. Chicago Archaeological Dictionary. Oh, thank you. This part is very important. This bemerkung is very important. It tells us why it must be, or it is highly likely that it is a Semitic. This is a Semitic long word, because Semitic he or her corresponds to Greek he. We have other examples. Semitic usually corresponds to Greek ro. We have other examples. And Semitic sh usually corresponds to Greek s. We have other examples. Semitic v, if it is not accentuated vowel before a consonant, ein unbetonter Vokal von einer Konsonante. It corresponds to Greek 0. And then morphology. A Greek Akkadian U stem corresponds to Greek O stem. So this bemerkung, this part is very important. Yeah. So this is one of the best reference books that you can consult if you want to know the Greek words coming from Semitic. And there's another book we have to mention that it is a doctor thesis by Professor Bai Gang in our university in Fudan. Yeah. So this is how to say? Okay. So this is a dissertation by another scholar called Bai Gang, talking about the semitische Lehnwörter in Griechische. However, before you start reading this dissertation, I would strongly recommend you to read the review by, how to say that, Egyptologist, Egyptian specialist, called, I strongly recommend you to read the review by, his name is Tax. I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly, but this is a very useful book review for this dissertation. It is about 11 pages. And who is this Takchi? Yeah, he's actually the editor of the Egyptian Etymological Dictionary. I can show you. Yeah, he's actually the Egyptian. He's the editor of the Egyptian Etymological Dictionary. Yeah, this one. Gobat Takchi. Yeah, he's the editor of the Etymological Dictionary of Egyptian. Yeah, so he's really a specialist of Semitic languages and also related stuff in the Mediterranean area. Yeah. Okay, so this is everything for today, and for the next Greek course in May, we will continue reading Homer. But you can see that my reading, my own way of reading Homer is pretty different from probably all your previous methods. Yeah. So but if you're not interested, you can just leave. Yeah. But I will try to analyze each interesting word with respect to the grammar, historical linguistics, and also with any related materials. Yeah, okay. So we will read Homer pretty, how to say that, pretty slow, yeah. Okay, and the day after tomorrow, there will be a German Tokaran class in Munich. And if you're interested, you're welcome, of course. And after that, in Tuesday, would be the first Latin class on the 28th of April. And you are also very welcome if you are interested. Okay, so this is everything for today. And thank you very much for your audience. Thank you very much for your attention and for your interest. Yeah. Okay, see you next time. Okay, bye-bye. Okay, I will upload the video file to our beloved B站. Okay, so see you later. Yeah, bye bye.